thank you so much for doing this interview with me. But more importantly, I got to say, I spoke with the producers of the show a couple of months ago. And I love the idea behind it because even though this is a story about families, this is a story about real life, this is a story with history that people may not even realize, and you both are representing this.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I mean, for me, I've said this today a couple of times, but to be a part of a Canadian show with real Canadian stories in a way that I didn't know existed, actually. I did not know about so much of the history in North Preston and in Halifax. I was completely unaware of it. So, to be exposed to the history there and for Vinessa to be, well, I'll let you take it from here, but yeah, I mean, no, I don't want to keep going on, but yeah.
No, I mean, well, it is nice to be, I'm the first, it's shocking, but it's I'm the first Black Canadian to be on a drama-long show. It's so important. It's so important to show that there is another side to Canada. There's many other sides to Canada, and there's so many stories to be told, and to be able to tell it now through the eyes of this character, shot in Nova Scotia, which is like almost a character in itself. It's beautiful, and then to be in North Preston, for the character to be from North Preston, which is like the oldest Black community in all of Canada. Something I did not know, something I did not learn in school. I literally had to go and learn it on my own after I booked this role. And when we got to Nova Scotia, that's when I started to really see all of the different cultures and the multiculturalism and the diversity that's there. And I was like, wow, why aren't we seeing more of this in Canada? Thank goodness we're doing it now. And like Floyd is such a better late than never. Yeah. And it's just the beginning of hopefully more. But Floyd has made a wonderful sort of look-see into this new world.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it because we kind of went around it. Yeah. But what is the story about? And talk about your character, please.
So this story is a story that's shot and takes place in Nova Scotia. It is about a woman who started off in corporate law, and now she's made a decision after a really horrific tragedy in her family. There's a suicide in her family that she feels responsible for. Has made a decision to leave the corporate law and go more about helping the people, and that is in Halifax Legal Aid. She gets basically hired by her mentor, her professor from university, Natasha's character, Colleen, brings her into the fold of these really complicated and messy and really good-hearted lawyers that are fighting for the real people, the real I don't want to say the real people, but the people that are the most vulnerable, the less fortunate.
I can stop you there. You can't say the real people because this is based on real people.
It really is based on. These are real. These are based on real cases. Floyd has really. This is his world. He is actually an entertainment lawyer. He really did grow up in North Preston. This is really his story coming to life, and yeah, a lot of the cases are based on actual events that have happened, and some of them are just shocking, and a lot of them also are so non-stereotypical, or I think almost challenge people to look at their own sort of preconceived notions of who they think people are based on either where they live, their ethnicity, their name, their religion, their sexuality. He kind of turns those ideas on its head, and you're like, I didn't think that character would be gay, or I didn't think that character would be a truck driver or a drunk or a single mom, or it's a wonderful way to have those kinds of conversations.
Yeah, it's not stereotyping. And he doesn't stereotype. His characters are very colorful, like real life, when you talk about messy and, nothing about anything that he writes is one-dimensional. It never is one-dimensional. Never. I mean, it's just, I play an openly gay character, but that is not the defining thing about my character. It's just happens to be one of the things about my character. So yeah, I think he's got such a brilliant way of telling stories in that way,
How do both your characters relate to each other, working with each other? Is there tension? Is there, what's the boundaries?
Well, I think Colleen has an interesting job in trying to figure out where money will be allocated for the various cases. So she's quite structured and, getting the job done and spinning a lot of plates and wants to do the right thing, but also needs to keep the whole thing running. Definitely has a soft spot for Marcy. I think she was a student of mine, so she's got a soft spot for Marcy. But also likes to push you as well, I think, So, yeah, there's a cool relationship there unfolding for sure.
Before I came to come over my camera to talk to both of you, you both were sitting down. You two seem to have a really good repertoire going on with each other.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is my girl right here.
Yeah.
I mean, right away when you first came, we went and we hung out right away. We did like a very touristy Halifax thing. We did like what was it called?
Tours or something.
It was a bus that turned into a boat.
We have one here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we went on that. We had lunch. We had a couple drinks, and right away we got on. So quickly, and there's just a lot we have in common. Just being Canadian and also living in the States, being mothers, single moms, and in an industry that has just been changing so rapidly over the last couple of years for sure.
I also just have a huge respect for you. I mean, and I did from the get-go, and we were working together, initially before we even really hung out, and just a huge respect for your work ethic and the way that you are on set and the way that you are with other people. That kindness is so huge to me, and then also you're funny and we can have our chats and all that kind of stuff. But I just respect that, because when you're carrying a show, people don't realize the amount of pressure and stress and sleep deprivation, and it's just a lot of work. And I was like, wow, she handles this well. And God, she's still so nice to people, and that for me, that goes such a long way. And so, yeah, but lots in common as well, for sure.
The one thing we should mention too is a very important character is the city itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, this isn't in some back lot. This isn't, another city playing another city. We see the truth.
Oh, Halifax is very much a character in the show.
Oh, yeah.
It is not a backdrop. It is the nitty-gritty, the beautiful, the less beautiful. It's always beautiful on film, though.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very much a character in this show. It should have a number on the call sheet.
Oh, for sure. I think the people have said that to you and said it to me as well, that, there are neighborhoods, there are locations, there are stores, there are streets that are recognizable to people, because they're like, I grew up at that, I went to that store, I went, I grew up in that neighborhood. And it's nice to see, just as a Canadian, it's nice to see a piece of your own out there, and not, like you said, it's not Halifax for Maine. It's Halifax for Halifax, and Halifax is gorgeous.
Yeah.
There you go. Before we
became fans, all of us were like, we didn't want to leave. I mean, we all became big fans of the place, that's for sure.
Before we go, I'm going to ask you both, what do you hope fans will get from this series? Because it seems to be so many elements that we can peel aside and take a good bite out of.
For me, I hope that there is some conversation that is started and had in terms of stereotypes, what is important, how we look at people, how we judge people, and how we treat people based on our own maybe backwards thinking sometimes. I think that, and it's still there, and we have so many more conversations to have, but because I believe this character that, Marcy Diggs, at the end of the day, all of her choices are rooted in love. It's not so much about, cracking the whip and, getting stuff done. It's about, at the end of the day, are we doing this for love? Why are we here? And who are we here? So I hope that's the beginning of it, at least.
And?
Oh gosh, that that was perfect. Why even say anything after that? I mean, seriously.
You're still here. I got to say again, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I cannot wait to see the series, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again, season 2.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, thank you.